Welcome everyone to another episode of Vinny Makes the Hall of Fame Case for ... And we are going to the gridiron where our good friend Vinny Lospinuso, America's favorite sports historian, is going to tell you about a player that should have gotten his due more than he did in the 1940s. Someone who should have been in the NFL for maybe a decade. He wasn't because of, unfortunately, the racial climate at the time. But he did make it. He did break some barriers, and he is a Hall of Famer in the College Football Hall of Fame, thankfully. And Vinny, you're going to tell us about Kenny Washington.
Ooh, yes. Kenny Washington is, I think, in my personal opinion, after Charles Follis, probably the biggest, probably the most important Black pioneer professional football player that's
Really?
not in the Hall of Fame. So he's
not in the
after
Hall.
Follis.
Okay, sorry.
Not in the Hall of Fame, yeah.
Okay. I was going to ask you, though, would you have had him ahead of Duke Slater before or no? Because I know you were.
No, and I would have Duke Slater ahead of both of them.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to know that because that was one of the first conversations you and I ever had a few years ago, and then Duke Slater did get into the Hall. So I was just
I never made a formal case for him because
no, we weren't doing that show.
Yeah, we didn't do it. So yeah, but Kenny Washington is here. Follis is still waiting along with Kenny. So here we are.
Yeah, so collegiately, again, he's in the College Football Hall of Fame, but this guy was a god at UCLA, along with his teammate, someone who you definitely have heard of, kids, Jackie Robinson. Both were stars in baseball and football. Wow. I mean, like, both of them could have been anywhere. I read that Jackie apparently was even better at football.
No, football was his best sport.
Yeah.
Like baseball was like his sixth best. Like he was the ultimate athlete that you could possibly have. Like he was just that good at college football. And you can't forget, you're forgetting one other person, Woody Strode.
Well,
that was his teammate
I was gonna get there, but I mean, like, with all due respect to Woody Strode, it's Jackie Robinson.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, Jackie Robinson is one of the most iconic and most significant players in just American history. Forget just baseball, American history. Plain and simple.
Yeah, because Strode was on that team too. He was one of 4 Black players on the UCLA football team, along with another gentleman, Ray Bartlett. Strode would eventually make the NFL also, but like Kenny, unfortunately, there was the resegregation of the NFL because there were NFL player or Black NFL players in the 1920s. So that did happen, but it was an unspoken rule that was not that the owners essentially, after, what was it, 26, I believe?
It was 36. It was after they did the general. What do you mean? Like they 1933 they banned Black players from football. Joe Lillard was they used as a scapegoat, and then in 1946 they were reintroduced.
Yeah, slowly. And this was a big part of it, not just in this league, but also, and that's another story for another time. The AAFC, which was the counterpart that's and all through the Cleveland Browns. And it's sort of interesting because we talk about how the Cleveland Browns were doing that with Marion Motley, and who is the other?
Bill Willis.
Thank you, Bill Willis. His name was escaping me for a second there. So as they were sort of going into the league, they're in this upstart league, which would eventually merge in 1950. Here we have the Rams that now were Cleveland moving to Los Angeles. But I guess before we get there, he plays 4 years in a league I'm not that familiar with, the Pacific Coast Professional Football League for the Hollywood Bears, where He was the star. It's the Kenny
6 years.
Washington show. 6 years.
Six. He was there for 6 years, and he
Six?
was
Oh, zero, one,
yes,
two, three, four, five. Okay.
1940 to 1945. He was
Okay.
extremely dominant for the Pacific Coast League. That's
Right.
also where Tom Flores played for a bit too, I think, if I'm
Oh,
not
okay. I didn't know
mistaken.
that. Yeah.
Um,
So he was outstanding, but he didn't have to go to active military duty because he got hurt playing football. And
right.
I bring this up only because when he finally got that opportunity in 46, and I think we should give a shout out to a former Negro League baseball player turned writer, Claire Harding, who was working, doing a lot of articles in Los Angeles, and was able to push this more progressive city to get them to get the Rams to, when they arrived from Cleveland to Los Angeles to sign Washington and Woody Strode, who you talked about earlier.
Yeah, but also you can't forget what Eddie Codell did too, because he was one of
Yes.
the biggest. I mean, I'm gonna eventually make a case for him. Don't worry. Um, he was one of the pioneers of scouting and was the one that integrated it when he became the head scout of the Rams, signing Strode in Washington.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was a big part of that. I think I read a quote. I don't know who that was attributed to. And then I find it ironic because again, the Cleveland Browns were doing what they were doing while someone had said that, if we were still in Cleveland, we probably wouldn't have signed Washington and Strode, which
No, they
is
wouldn't have. It was different for the Rams compared to the Browns because the
right.
Rams were in the NFL. The Browns, don't forget, they started as an AFC team. They didn't.
Well, they can do
Them and the
whatever they
Niners
want.
did
Yeah.
not join the NFL
Right.
until 1950.
But I guess they thought that the climate of Los Angeles was conducive for them to make this, where they could not have done that in Cleveland.
Yeah, especially as they're from Los Angeles, they were big stars at UCLA, and they
Right.
also played for the Hollywood Bears.
Right.
Makes
I mean,
sense.
right. So they're two players that they were very familiar with. Now, unfortunately, when Washington gets there, he's only 27, but he's already a shell. I
Right.
mean,
He's not the same player as he was in terms of dominance as he
well,
was, but he still averaged for 6.1 yards per carry, eight
right,
touchdowns.
right. But I read here too, and that he'd already went through two knee surgeries, and I'm thinking, oh my god, it couldn't have been that good. The surgeries back then.
It was very, very different in terms of medicine back then compared to today,
Right.
especially as like knee cartilage. I mean, they had to remove the cartilage from his knee in both instances because even then, like the 92-yard touchdown that he ran, that's still the Rams record for the longest run from scrimmage.
That was in
So even
47.
in
Yeah.
yeah, even in spite of that, he was still dominant in that brief stint.
Mhm.
But at the same time, again, it's not his fault.
Yeah, I mean, he would finish with playing 3 years for the Rams, only 1,086 yards from scrimmage, but in the 40s, that's not that bad,
No, not at all.
all things considering. I wonder if his career what if it could have been like a Terrell Davis, because he would have been dominant for a few years, and then just bang, injuries where you're reduced to, oh God, let's see what he can still do, but he didn't have modern medicine either.
No, they didn't. And this is a guy that had 5 knee surgeries throughout his whole life. I mean, but
Mm.
yeah, you're that 5. One time he was hit by a car, and he also contracted rickets one time as well when he was younger. So this is a man that had
Yeah.
5 knee surgeries and still was so dominant as a rusher. And it sucks too because there were really no awards that were given out for the 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 Pacific Coast League, or else he would have had some. And for the Rams, he didn't get any All Pro nods. Like from what one of the people at the Hall of Fame told me, the reason why Washington has been listed along with Strode is because they didn't get any of those accolades. Like the reason why Plunkett and Edelman are more considered than the other two is because they're eligible because they have the Super Bowl MVPs. Washington and Strode, from my understanding, at the moment, are not eligible because they didn't get any awards by the media,
Mhm.
which is I think,
Well,
in my opinion, it's stupid.
yeah, I mean, it is something that can be easily explained. You can't win awards when you're not allowed to be there at your peak.
No, you're not allowed to be there, but it's stuff like that where yeah, I know some are gonna say, oh, Kenny Washington has the Ralph Hay Pioneer Award. Yeah, okay,
Not the same.
cool. It's not the same.
No.
You're getting an award for a guy that the voters have snubbed from the Hall of Fame for so many years, despite literally creating the NFL as it is.
Yeah.
And there are guys that have gotten that and have gotten inducted in this case of Steve Sable and Art McNally and retroactively Bill Willis and Marion Motley. I mean, you're going to say that Kenny Washington and even Woody Strode didn't have Hall of Fame where they could, oh, it's not good enough. See, they're honored. See, they have a list there. They have a whole banner. Yeah, yeah, you could do all the bells and whistles as you want. But at the end of the day, the reason why I criticize displays and whatnot, it's not because of that. It's because no matter how many displays you have up, 99.9% of people, whenever they talk about, I want you in the Hall of Fame, they are not talking about having their jersey on display or having a photo there. What they want is the bust or bust. That's what they want. They want the bronze bust. Nothing else matters. And they could say other stuff matter. Whoever says that to you is lying. They know damn well that people want the bronze bust. Any kind of secondary award, they could say it's nice and all, but that's more of a reflection of poor selections by the committee that they have to put in because the committee doesn't do a good job of putting them in. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but
No, it's okay.
that's my piece on the Ralph Hay Award.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed this. The Rams have, like this month, we're recording this in February. Uh, they put out some Kenny Washington jerseys for sale.
Yeah, they look so nice.
They
Like
do.
seriously.
Yeah,
Well, I also think they need to retire his number two. By the way, that should definitely be the case.
that wouldn't be a.
Um,
What number was he?
he was 13, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was 13. He was
Okay.
number 13,
Okay.
and like that'll be great. Like seriously, someone who was from Los Angeles, spent his entire life here, collegiately and professionally, a pioneer, a true trailblazer in every sense of the word, and also those jerseys are sweet. Like they're really nice jerseys. I love those. I love those old yellow kind of jerseys,
Hmm.
and they're limited times. I would love to see like a version of that they use as an alternate. I think that would be great for his family too. And it's a shame that the Rams don't have a ring of honor because they have so many great players and so many great non-players throughout their history. I think the Rams are the most significant team that no one talks about. Everyone talks about how the Raiders are trailblazers because they marketed a lot. Al Davis, this and that. They got Art Shell, they have Tom Flores, Amy Trask. But the Rams were doing this long before that. They were the ones that reintegrated things back into the league. They were the ones that drew the horns on their helmets. They were the ones that had, Tom Fears there too for the team. They were the ones that were the first to even go to California before any other professional team. Like, and they have Kenny Washington. You need to honor that past. Like, you need to reclaim that from the Raiders. The Raiders may talk about it all they want, but they don't hold a candle to what the Rams have done.
Yeah, but as we know, it's a lot different when it's not on TV. And
Oh,
that
I'm
was
aware.
on TV. Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, so this has been a really good one. I think to your point, I mean the Rams at least they're doing a little something. Not having a whole Ring of Honor. I mean, if they could do, there's no reason why they couldn't do that now. Uh, for example, the St. Louis Cardinals relate to the game in baseball, and in the 8 years of their creation of their own franchise Hall of Fame, have done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, they have done a great job. The
Yeah,
Chicago Bulls just released one. I
yeah,
think more and more teams need to do these Ring of Honors because I think a lot of other people are kind of just fed up with waiting for their guys to make the Hall of Fame for so long. So
well,
let's
all teams.
finally honor them here because they deserve it, and we're not going to wait on these other places. So let's just do it here. I think the Rams need to do that for their guys like Roman Gabriel and Kenny Washington, Isaiah Robinson, and Eddie Codell, and so many others. And I think Washington especially deserves his number retired for what he has done for so many people that came after him.
Okay, sounds good. Well, if you enjoyed that, check out a lot more of the other shows that Vinny does, where he makes some phenomenal Hall of Fame cases for a lot of other candidates, not just players, but other contributors in various sports. You've done presidents, you've done inventors, you have done scouts. It's really a lot of fun, and it's a great sort of step back in the time. So, with that, wherever you are, wherever you may be, make it a great day. Take care, everybody.